you think the steps of making a movie are like, okay, you write a script, right?
Yeah.
You get funding, you get people, you get locations, all that kind of stuff. All of those steps to make a movie, the way Hollywood teaches you to do it, the way film schools teach you to do it a lot of the time, is filled with red tape. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel here at Doom Productions. Today we're doing another longer, more relaxed, chilled video. We released a video this week called, I don't know what it's going to be called.
We wrote it down. You guys are getting it's no excuses, the no budget filmmaking mentality.
No excuses. So
no excuses.
We made a video which is very aggressive and very I don't know how to describe it.
It's just kind of breaking down. I think the goal of it was kind of break down
the myths
of why you can't make your movie and why you should make your movie, and there's nothing really holding you back from doing that.
Yeah, and our goal with it was really just to briefly throw out any argument that you can't make excuses to make a movie these days, why you can't make a movie.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the philosophy you have to adapt to be a no-budget filmmaker. Not necessarily successful.
No, you're not going to make money. I mean, if you're a no budget, you're doing it because you love it.
Yeah. It's got to come from the heart. So, and that's pretty much what we detail in our video of just we tell ourselves these excuses, and that's really all they are. So they're just excuses of why you can't do it. But there really are no excuses these days. Again, if you want to make money, if you want to be really popular, if you want to make it in Hollywood, this is not
it's cool to practice, but yeah, you're not going to want to stick with this. I feel like that's you're never going to be content in this phase.
Yeah.
We're trying to show kind of how to make the most of the no budget world, because it really is really freeing, because you can make whatever you want. I mean, obviously there's technical limitations, or just kind of where your skill sets out can limit what you make.
Yeah.
But we never really, I don't think we look at that as really as a hindrance. We just get to make the movies that we can make now.
And I think this advice is applicable to anyone. No excuses is a good mentality to have, of there are no excuses. Because like most things in life, your career is not going to be handed to you. Some things are just not going to be handed to you, especially filmmaking. You can't sit around and dream about being a filmmaker. I would love to.
Yeah.
And that's honestly more fun than filmmaking sometimes.
Filmmaking sucks a lot of the time.
But you have to just do it. There's no other better way. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And any reason why you're not doing it, you better have a good reason. You better have a good reason to not be making your movie.
Yeah.
I mean, let's break this down.
Yeah.
So step one, young and upcoming filmmaker, maybe in high school or college or in between or just out of college, they have this dream script.
Yeah.
Let's say they have this dream script. Or no, let's throw it back even further.
Yeah.
They want to make a movie. They want to make a feature movie. What usually happens is I want to get a movie made. And they will be like, well, I need a script. And, well, this would probably actually be... My metaphor is falling apart here. Hold on, now as I'm thinking about it.
No, you're good. You're starting off. So a filmmaker
start out strong.
Yeah.
Don't know where this is going now.
We don't script these beforehand.
No, that's what's... No pressure.
Yeah.
But also it might kind of suck, so... I'm trying to think.
Well,
Yeah, you go.
There's definitely a pressure to approach things the Hollywood way, because that's kind of what that's what we are exposed to, is, we watch Hollywood movies. Even if you're watching foreign films, if that's what you grow up on, or just your country's
your
movies.
Weird artsy-fartsy movies.
Well, they're coming from an industry generally.
Yeah.
There's someone out there that has, studios that have money, and they're hiring everyone to do things, and they're doing it, the heavy quotes, the right way.
Yeah.
And so, that's how we're brought up, we're raised. We see these movies, and there's an expectation and a standard that you kind of hold yourself to that, I mean, realistically, is super unfair to yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're starting out, it's that classic story of, Steven Spielberg didn't start out making blockbusters. He started out with his little Super 8 camera filming. I think when he was a kid, he just filmed trains crashing. Like, that's all it was. I mean, stuff that no one would look at, and be like, oh, that's great. Your stuff starts out bad generally, and that's fine. You're in this phase where you get to really play around with what you make, and that's what's so freeing. Again, is just the fact that there is no expectation. There shouldn't be an expectation for yourself. You should be just trying things. I mean, we recycle, I feel like, things all the time from our older work.
Oh yeah.
That the short itself might not be incredible or anything, but we'll be like, oh, this moment or this effect or this thing that we did 3, 4, 5 years ago, like, that would be great now. And because we've took the time, we made bad movies, we made films that were okay, but we never stopped really evolving or progressing. We can take those things that were half baked at the time and really flush them out now. And what's great is 10 years from now, we can look back at the stuff we're currently doing and probably pull from that again. And
it's coming up.
It's just recycles and recycles itself. And
10-year anniversary.
Yeah, we're really close to been doing this for 10 years. It's like, we're like 8 or something. I don't know. But that being said, like, there shouldn't be a fear of experimenting when you're starting out. And I feel like there's, what is it? Good taste. What's that phrase? Good taste kills creativity or something like that?
Good taste is the enemy of creativity.
Yeah, like, your taste that you grow up with is Hollywood. You're not going to achieve Hollywood.
No.
At least not now. If that's your goal, like, that's awesome. But you're not there. So what can you do now in the meantime? And just kind of throttle that expectation of making the Hollywood thing. I mean, if you have the resources, man, that's awesome. But, like, no, not many of you probably do. And that's fine.
And that goes back to, I remember what I was going to say. That goes to this. So you think the steps of making a movie are like, okay, you write a script, right?
Yeah.
You get funding, you get people, you get locations, all that kind of stuff. All of those steps to make a movie, the way Hollywood teaches you to do it, the way film schools teach you to do it a lot of the time, is filled with red tape and barriers and boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Writing is a whole nother thing all of itself. I mean, if you don't know how to write, I don't know what to tell. Like, you just have to write and you will become a better writer. It's as simple as that. If you write a whole bunch, you will become a better writer. Look up tutorials. That's not for right now. But let's say you have your script and you're ready to get going. Your first step, I mean, what they tell you is like, okay, you need money to make it. You might even need a crew too. But what if you don't know anybody? What if you don't have the money? Well, then the no excuses mentality is, I mean, you still have yourself to film with. You still might know, maybe you might not have 5 people but you might know 1 person. And you might not need, and you don't need money at all. You can just do this, like, I mean, I think that's a big illusion when it comes to making movies, is like some things cost money and you need to spend money on, but other things don't. And a lot of stuff, I mean, there's so much fluff that goes into a movie. I'm trying to think of a good example. But let's say, like, crew, for instance. Like, that's a pretty easy one. If you are hiring people to work on your set, you have to pay them. It's as simple as that. If you're going to pay people, generally, I don't think you can hire union people. I don't know all the exact details.
Yeah.
The guilds and unions, they have rules. So if you're like a Screen Actors Guild, I don't think you can be hired officially in like a really low budget that's not associated, and that's fine. That's what the unions are there to protect their employees. That's awesome and everything. But as a filmmaker, if you just want to get your movie made, like, you need a producer to navigate all that stuff, to all the contracts and stuff. When you're paying people, there's certain rules and just general rules and regulations you have to follow, not even associated with SAG or the Screen Actors or anything like that.
Yeah.
that is a lot of fees, a lot of navigating, sometimes a lot of lawyers. That's a lot of money you got to spend just to hire a crew member or an actor. And like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit around trying to navigate for like half of a year or years to like, go through the right channels to get this done? No, like that's a waste of your time. Life is too short to be like, constricted by red tape. What you got to do, use your friends, talk to local actors, student actors, talk to local people, like go to your community center and like put up flyers, be like, hey, we're casting for a movie. Go on Craigslist, go on Facebook. On Facebook, there's usually acting groups or like film scene groups where you guys can post each other's stuff. Look for people that you can work with for free. I mean, obviously, like, it's always great to pay people, but I mean, you can't always pay people, like, because it's no budget. It's in the name.
And what's kind of cool, I mean, with the looking for groups and Facebook people and stuff that are working on projects is like, you can start, if you don't know anyone or you're uncertain or you don't want to ask right ahead, honestly, you could start volunteering yourself to work on other people's crews and kind of build up friendships and connections through that route and that avenue. That's not necessarily the way we went about it. We were pretty lucky to have friends who were pretty willing to volunteer for us, but I could see that being a really interesting way to get experience that's not at risk to your own project, but you get to kind of see how a no budget or low budget set's going to run and operate, so you kind of can have that expectation and have an understanding, so you're not just going in blind. It's good practice even before you start your movie. That was just one thing that came to my mind. I was just thinking. Yeah,
and just like even then, I mean, I can't remember what we've talked about. This is such a rambly topic. Yeah. But like, there truly are no excuses. You have, I mean, because as we said in our video, if you don't have money, forget the money. You don't need it. Just film it by yourself. Get your camera and film with your friends or film with relatives. Yeah. They're a great resource for you to use.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's like, well, but my script is this. Change your script or do a different script.
Story.
Different story.
Yeah. We abandon our ideas all the time.
Too frequently, I think.
All the time. We are don't be precious with your movies, I think.
Yeah.
Like, work on and hold on to those big ones that you're like, I want to be able to do this at some point. Like, that's awesome. But like, you should be willing to make those sacrifices of your story and change it. I mean, if it really is that precious, then work hard on it, and that's going to take a lot more time. But you'll want that practice and that time to have been put in for you to tackle that big project and do it right. If you're just like going to start with the dream script, you're going to, chances are, ruin your dream script, and then that's it. You made a bad movie, and it's the one that you dreamed of making. So give yourself time to mess up before you just go on into the big stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, we kind of went over it a little bit in our video. What are some big excuses that you hear all the time? Like from people who say, I want to get my movie made, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. And they're like, but I can't because of this. I mean, do any come to mind?
I'll use a me example. Okay. I'll use something that I run into a lot, which is, I mean, I think I talked about this a bit in our last kind of sit down video, but like the writing phase used to be my biggest trip up, because I would be really excited. I'd be working really hard on a movie. Like the idea I was in love with, or, whatever, I'd have something that made me really want to do the movie.
Yeah.
So I'd work on trying to get it written, and I would burn out really fast because that can be such a tedious process. And it's taking me, again, I think I talked about this last one, but I'll be brief, but it took me a long time to realize that you can bypass the writing phase if that's just not working for you. And I do think it's a good skill to have, and it's something that I'm trying to still develop in myself, and it's just been a slow process for me. But the writing phase, I feel like, is where most people's movie dream dies, because they don't have the patience to stick with it.
But if you stick with it, you're already way ahead of most people. Like
most people don't ever finish writing their movie. I don't think. I can't. It's hard to realize a full movie. There's so many moving parts. I've been watching Pirates of the Caribbean recently, going through that series, and like watching it, it just weaves so flawlessly all their through lines and all their jokes and all the things they're calling back, and they're coming through B stories and C stories and C stories. Get it? Because it's a pirate movie and they're on the ocean. It's a joke.
It's terrible.
But there, there's someone didn't sit down and write that over a weekend. They were evolving it and writing it, and they probably might have had a writer's room. Who knows? I don't know anything about the writing process of that particular film, but there's a ton of work that just goes into the writing, and at the end of that, you got to be exhausted, and then you got to actually make the dang thing. It's hard.
Well, to your point too.
Yeah.
I mean, going with the writing, like, let's say you get stumped in writing, like that's a big thing for you. You have two options.
Yeah.
One option, learn everything you can about writing and write until you're really good at it, or just good at it, or get better, and don't worry about that. Because, there's so many writing resources out there. Script Notes is there's a podcast I have to shout out. There's so many different videos. There's books. I think there's a subreddit which you can go on, like script writers or screenwriters. I don't know. But there are ways you can find, like, you can learn to make a script as good as Pirates of the Caribbean, like a tightly wound, thread lines, all that kind of stuff, or forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about writing. Don't worry about it, and just write it and film. Because if you want to wait to become a good writer to film your movie, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Like, that's going to take you're never going to feel ready ever.
Yeah.
So, it might be better to, like, I don't know, just write something and film it. Just see how it works.
One thing that I wanted to talk about before we run out of time or anything is we're talking, one thing that was interesting that we brought up in the video is film festivals.
Oh, yeah.
Getting your movie seen after you've made it, I think is a super interesting thing, because we, for a really long time, were doing film festival stuff. That was always kind of the end goal for us was, all right, we're shooting this movie. What festivals is it going into?
Yeah.
And nowadays, COVID really had a hand in that, but we're just not interested in festivals much anymore. I don't know. I feel like that's just a topic we can really go into. And distribution as a whole, because YouTube, is obviously the best, what we feel is one of the best places to put your movie. 'Cause it's free.
It's free. And with festivals, I think the joy for us seeing a movie at a festival was always of, like, we're seeing our movie with people, in a room with people.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore. So the whole value of the film festival for us is it's just kind of devalued now. But film school tells you, Hollywood tells you, make a good movie, submit it to a festival, it's going to get seen by the right people, and blah, blah, blah,
You'll get hired,
attention,
you'll be a director.
which can work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it can't, but it's very difficult for that to happen, and it doesn't happen to everybody. And I mean, it's not like YouTube though. Like, it's not like you can make it. Anyone can make it huge on YouTube, but you can, like, I don't know. For us, we valued, like, the immediate distribution of getting our work seen, and that's what we really valued film festivals for.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not really doing those much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just an interesting how we've shifted so quickly away from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I do, it's cool to see your movie reacted to by people you don't know, because a lot of the time you're showing it to mostly friends and family.
Yeah.
So being in that room where it's, it can be validating. But
I mean, they talk about the death of the theater. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
I think we all love, as a species, and filmmakers, we just like going to the movies too much. It's a thing that's really cool and important. And we've never really had that. Like, we've had our movies played in front of crowds, but that was never, like, a consistent thing for us.
No.
So, again, just reiterating, like, the whole idea of, like, the festival, it's like, well, we don't care now, because, I mean, the festivals we were getting, it's not like we were getting into Sundance or anything like that.
No, they're little local festivals. They're fun.
They're fun.
And it's cool you get to
really
talk
cool
to people. I think we had a better time, I think, meeting, like, the directors and heads of those than we did, like, other filmmakers.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and YouTube's been great because, again, you can meet other filmmakers so much easier. We've been lucky to kind of get that experience in the last year. Yeah, it's changed how I interact on YouTube, because I used to be kind of just back.
Yeah.
I would just be a viewer, and now it's like, no, I look forward to commenting now.
It's a whole thing, yeah. So what would... I can't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got nothing.
Oh.
I'm so scatterbrained right now.
No,
I'm
and that,
trying to
that
remember
video
what
is
our
so.
video.
It's funny how that video is so direct and precise, and we can't remember any of it, even though it's very like, this is it.
I
But,
mean, what is it? Do you think? What does it mean to be a no budget filmmaker?
I mean,
How would you sum it up?
a no budget filmmaker? I think you were describing in the video. We're gonna keep referring back to this video that isn't even done being edited yet, technically. But for you guys, it is. Click the card that popped up at some point to go watch it. But you described it as, people who make movies who like, you will die if you cannot make your movie. Like, you're not going to let, a no-budget filmmaker is a person who's just not going to let circumstance stop them from making a movie. So you don't need a good camera. You don't need the best actors. You don't need a location. You don't need anything. You're going to find a way to make a movie no matter what it's shot on. And I think that's just no-budget filmmaking to me. If you didn't even have a video camera, you just had pictures, you would do pictures of a thing and you'd do a voiceover.
Yeah.
And that would be your movie. And it doesn't matter because you had to make a movie. That's no budget filmmaking to me.
Yeah. It's the difference of a filmmaker by heart and a filmmaker by trade.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who want to be a filmmaker, but not at the expense of like, well, I want to get paid to do it. Or like, I want to do it right. I want to be in Hollywood. I want to get paid to write movies.
I want to be able to support myself.
I want to support myself.
Like,
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
valid. That's awesome. I'd like that. That'd be cool.
Don't
That'd
get
be the
us
dream.
wrong. That would be amazing.
That would be the dream. But some of those people, not all of them, like,
It hinges on that.
it hinges on that making money. And for us and for a lot of other filmmakers and people who are in the industry, they're filmmakers by heart. They have to make movies. They're born to make movies. They're born to like express themselves through cinema. And I think that's where no budget filmmaking can really that's the crowd that can really be helped by no budget filmmaking. Is those people who are filmmakers by heart. Because Hollywood is a tough system.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's hard to get in, and once you're in, it's hard to survive. Well, I mean, we've all heard the horrible things that happen there.
Yeah.
And like the studio meddling and all that stuff. Not like we speak from firsthand experience, but it's a very like kind of thing we're weary of. And no budget filmmaking, there's nothing stopping you.
No.
There's only yourself. The only thing getting between you and making your movie is yourself. And if you're a filmmaker by heart, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's a benefit, if anything, because you don't have to go through a bunch of red tape or kind of studio restrictions or unions and laws and all that stuff. Not that it's not good, because it's good if you're going to be at a big Hollywood level.
Yeah.
But if you just want to get something made just for fun, just because it helps you live a little, it brings joy into your life, then no budget filmmaking. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even if we made it, even if we were in Hollywood, I'm sure we would still be making dumb stuff.
Yeah.
We would always be making stuff, even regardless if we were getting paid.
I'd be worried about, the stress and the high demand side of it would make me miss being able to, we work at our own pace.
Yeah.
I mean, I think again, that's the benefit, that I think the best part one of the excuses that we brought up was time. It's I don't have the time, but it's you have all the time in the world technically to make your movies. And that's, I think, the best part is we have a movie that's a short film that's been on the back burner for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's it'll come out when it comes out. And that freedom and that ability to weave in and out of projects is great, that you can change gears, and who cares?
But at the same time too, life is short.
That's true.
And if you're a filmmaker by heart, don't wait around for the perfect circumstances.
No. I mean, we've had that project on back burner for forever, and we've made plenty of stuff in between. It's not you should not be waiting for anything to get done. If you need to switch gears to another project, do it.
Yeah.
As long as you're finishing things, I think it's great.
No, but there's definitely, you have a certain freedom that Hollywood filmmakers do not have when it comes to making movies. And I think no budget filmmakers can really thrive in that for sure.
Yeah. So that being said, we're going to give away $1 million to one of you guys to get your movie made. Just kidding.
Can you see the straight face?
Just kidding. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? You made it all the way to the end of this long talk. We're gonna give you money.
I wish we could.
I wish we could.
I wish we could. I wish for every filmmaker to have all the money to make their movies. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a dream, but it's not how it is.
No.
But that's okay, because life sucks too.
What an uplifting end to this amazing video. No, but I mean, I think, if you're watching this far, I think you agree that you're probably one of those people who either is a filmmaker by heart or wants to be. And that's, I mean, you're in an amazing journey because, filmmaking is, I mean, I think you and I both agree, the best form of artistic expression because it's everything. If you disagree,
it's
totally
cheating.
fine.
It's cheating because it is everything.
Yeah, because it's painting, it's photography, it's music, it's acting, it's
Yeah.
literature, it's everything. But what's great is you don't have to be great at everything to do it.
Yeah.
So you just get to experiment. And there are gatekeepers out there, but in no budget filmmaking, there are no gatekeepers except for yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's cool, but that also is really hard because you gotta work hard to be disciplined and to actually do the thing and finish it.
Oh yeah.
In the words of Varric from Legend of Korra, do the thing.
Do the thing. Yeah. That works.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to add yet.
I think this is like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
We are so dead right now compared to how aggressive we were.
I like that we have the polar opposite. I was thinking that earlier too.
Yeah.
It's really funny. But yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully this expanded upon like the why of the things we said in our video.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it helped you. I hope it enlightened you a little more with no budget filmmaking, or it spoke to you as a no budget filmmaker.
We definitely, in our discussion, we kind of want to fill in that space of, supporting no budget filmmakers, not financially, but emotionally, and just, that's a space that, I think we're enjoying, speaking to. So that's kind of where we come from a lot. I mean, that's how we've been doing this the past 8 years, and we plan to keep going forward. Unless one of you wants to give us $1 million.
I'll take it. Yeah.
But in the meantime, subscribe. We have a whole bunch of content that we put out pretty regularly, 2 to 3 videos a week. And yeah, we're out here slaying it at the no budget game. Go out there and do the same yourself. Wow, This is a weird outro, but
I don't.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate your viewership. We're very candid in these long talks, so yeah, if you sat this long, man, you got some free time.
Good job.
All right, well, we'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.